And welcome back, guys, to Community Throwdown. I am listening to Prince, and I'm joined by Brad. Before we just had Street Fighter Five, we enjoyed that top four action of Street Fighter
Mhm.
Five. Well, maybe more like top six action, right? But we enjoyed that. Now we're gonna have this top four action of Guilty Gear Strive, and I don't believe you were saying it before. We have never commentated Guilty Gear Strive together.
Yeah, we have not had the pleasure, despite both of us being working with people that do Guilty Gear. It's just maybe it was going to be too powerful. Maybe they couldn't escape from crossing fate or
Well,
what have you, animeisms. But we're gonna have to see. I'm
well, the
really going to be
streams
excited
have been
about.
crossed.
Yes,
Right?
that's where we're at. They've always said you don't cross the streams, but if I
Mm,
know anything about do something, it's gonna
mhm.
happen in the third act. It's going to be the most important thing that happens in that entire movie.
All right,
Yeah,
but
so our top four is looking like Hotashi and Razzo up in the winners finals, and then down in
mm,
the loser semis, it's Bean versus Flash Metroid.
yeah, I mean, all these names are definitely names. When you think about Guilty Gear, throughout
Hmm.
the history of Guilty Gear, Razzo being one of the newer Guilty Gear players for this game, but pretty synonymous with the game so far. And then if you think about, and even Bean as well, right? But and
Hmm.
Hotashi coming from the Revelator series, the Exert series, right? But making
Yep.
a strong name for himself in Strive, and then obviously Flash Metroid, no stranger to this game. If you don't know who this guy is, at one point he was the best player in the country.
Really? See that
Yes.
I don't know if that predates me or if it's just I know Flash Metroid from playing in other titles back at the time, but earlier in my fighting game career in like the Street Fighter 4 sort of era of stuff and even early Street Fighter 5 with the Exert series like you were talking about, I
Mhm.
didn't really have an ear to the Guilty Gear community. So that's interesting, right? That like I wasn't necessarily aware of the pedigree that he has going into it. I knew that there
This
was
man is a
legacy.
champion.
Wow, okay.
I've known Flash for a while. He lived in New York for a bit, from Florida,
Mhm.
but he actually lived in New York for a bit. Visited some family for a summer, so we chilled together. He actually played Marvel 2 as well.
See, I think I know him more for like he played Marvel 3 as well, right? And
Mhm.
who did he play in Street Fighter? I'm trying to remember. In Street Fighter 4.
He played a couple of characters. He played Crimson Viper, and I
Mhm.
think he played Geef at one Evo, and I believe he got top 8 at that Evo.
I think that might be I had an image of him playing Geef, and that might be the run that I'm
Yeah,
recalling.
that version of Geef was kind of busted.
Well, we're talking about Guilty Gear right now. We don't have to go into the old lore of broken Zangiefs, but tell me a little bit about Flash Metroid's pedigree then. So you a champion in which
Jam
iteration of Guilty
player.
Gear?
I remember the first time I met
Okay.
him. I think it was during Double X, and he played Axel in Double X, but then
Okay.
was a jam player for kind of the rest of the Guilty Gears. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he even played Exerd like that, or who he
Hmm.
played in Exerd. But coming back to the
Okay.
series, playing Axel Jam isn't in the game. Going back to
Right.
his first main, Axel.
Okay. And I think you were saying that that was going to be an Axel chip matchup, is what we were going to be looking at in that
I
particular pairing.
expect it to be, unless I don't know if Happy Chaos is banned. I don't know if he even messed with the character.
Actually, good point. I wouldn't presume that he was. He came out last week, right?
Well,
Ish.
I don't know if we ban things over here at the community throwdown.
Right.
We might be like, yo, just go for it.
I would be excited to see some Happy Chaos. I've only seen a little bit of that character. Obviously, like you said, he's so fresh. And CEO this past weekend, it
Mm,
was not legal there. So, we've only had so much time to really see this character utilized in a tournament context at the highest of levels. But I'm intrigued to see what becomes of him. I think one thing that's been kind of interesting is like all of the DLC characters so far have had some sort of unique mechanic. Um, where I think there's a fair bit more of the base roster that is just kind of like, yeah, you're playing around the burst in the RC system, and you've got your kit, but Gold Lewis has that building meter that gives you the empowered special moves. Jam has the additional meter for her minions. that behaves sort of similarly to, you know, the
You
eddy
mean
meter.
Jacko?
Yes, I'm sorry, Jacko. Yes, thank you. And now we've got the concentration gauge and the bullet gauge for Happy
Mm.
Chaos. It seems like for the DLC, maybe they're a little bit more willing to play outside of the wheel in
And
terms of
Baiken
the
is
design
coming
of
with
it.
the triggered gauge.
Yes. That's what I was about to say. I'm like, and now we have Baiken coming where like who knows how much she's going to behave like classic Baiken, right? Like, is she gonna be out here alpha countering everything, or what are we gonna
Yo,
see?
I was going through Twitter and people were like, "Yo, why is everybody so triggered about Baiken being in the game?" I'm like, well, if you like
They don't
going on
know.
offense, I hope. I I hope. I hope. Oh man, maybe she should become
Right.
like, I don't know, a zoning character. Keep her away.
We'll have to see, right?
Yeah.
I almost wonder if like I don't know how much input they would have had into Baiken's integration into the Sam Show series, but like if you're redesigning her kit in that way, so many characters they're not one-to-one going into this title because obviously this engine works very differently. But
Well,
you can
you gotta
experiment
give.
with her in that way.
Well, also like she played differently in the Exert series as well,
Yeah.
and
So you're
and
playing
I
differently. We're
think a lot
playing
of
two
characters were
different characters
redesigned.
here. Hotashi versus Razzo. We've got Nagoriyuki versus Leo. Hotashi already up there at the top of that blood gauge.
Yeah, and and already bleeding as well.
Oh, we found the super for the wall break too, so that's going to get us the good Oki going into the post wall break situation. Hotashi has to hold this mix.
And good defense too. Got opened up by the initial mix, able to block the secondary
Ooh.
mix up and gain offense as well. Oh, this is gonna kill.
Great calls from Hotashi. So what I loved about that is when Hotashi cashed out that command grab there, and I like that Nagos are more willing to do this, is when you look down, you know you're going to restore so much blood, and it continues to restore. Like, you have that time to be like, all right, let's go a little bit buck wild on these special moves, sending out the Shadow Clone and then absolutely exploding behind it. Are we going to see some wild stuff again? No. Actually, just waits because we don't necessarily need to build all the way back up. We're going to get this wall break again.
Oh, and the thing is though, Razzo, very unwilling to burst in any way. I get it too because you never know if a Nago is gonna backstep like that.
Oh.
You never know if they're gonna do a string into backstep, and then you look kind of like, oh no, I've just bursted. Now I'm gonna die.
Right. Well, I mean, the unfortunate flip side, right, is like Razzo just died with burst after getting perfected in that round, and it just
I feel
it was looking awfully one player. I feel like that was kind of training mode.
yeah, like that's what happens though. You're like, ah, he's probably baiting me here, and then you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Sometimes. Moist Hotashi.
Oh, whiffed. Yeah, that was a great call out there from Razzo. But Hotashi with the read knows Razzo's going to go for the side switch, gets the close S. Now a burst finally comes out and the corner pressure is on again for Razzo. But look, Hotashi completely comfortable just representing that 2S to slow down Leo and keeps getting these command grabs.
Yeah, drops the combo there. You know what? It was kind of low, and I don't know if he wanted to like go for extra damage without breaking the wall, or maybe because it was too low, didn't want to take the risk. Either way, it still works out. Hotashi takes that first round of the second game.
All right, we got the Rekkas. Oh my god, these close S calls for when Razzo is going to try to do something cheeky, and that is so much damage. This
so
man's
much.
life bar is deleted.
Too much damage.
All right, gets
What life
one
bar?
more guess. Close
Oh, yeah,
S.
not even kind of like a replay of the last round almost, because that ended it perfect also with with Razzo unable to really do anything offensively.
Yeah, it seems to me like what's happening is the second Hotashi gets the game started, and especially once the blood gauge is up to the point where he's very thoroughly in control of the ground game, what's happening is Razzo is making these really big calls to try to move into the space, and Hotashi every single time has had the read with the close S and gotten tons of damage out of it. And then it's just like, all right, cool. You're dead on the next hit against a tier 3 Nago who just got positive bonus.
Yeah, on top of that too, like going into that game, Razzo didn't even have bursts, and Hotashi had that ever so important resource of bursts. Like, oh, even if I got hit, guess what? I have bursts, and then I have meter,
Right.
I have positive bonus, I have everything going my way.
Yeah.
And even this matchup is kind of in Nago's favor as well.
Yeah,
So that
I would
could be
believe it.
also,
I think what
that
you
could be
really need to
also
have
yeah, a lot
happen
of
as
fun.
Leo is you need to get in quick, because you're going to really struggle in the ground game before that. And you
Yeah.
need to have all your reads really work out. I think the difficulty is Leo is that type of character who, like, yeah, he's a mix machine, but all of these hits, especially if you're doing like back turn stance, left, right stuff, they go cycle into knockdown so quick, you're not getting a whole lot of damage. Obviously, Leo has big damage on certain hits. Okay, this is what
Wait, hold on.
Razzo needs. Has Hotashi at the
What
corner.
we got here? With the drop, a little bit too
Oh my
far for it.
god.
It's gonna combo into super. Oh, it's too far, but gets the extra pickup. I like that. Got rid of some of the blood with that.
That 2K check, and Razzo is just crumbling on defense. That single 2K check that slowed Razzo down, and Hotashi, off of that little swing in momentum, is just like, yeah, okay, I know I have the life deficit, and you could just DP, but I think this is mine now.
Yeah, I think like Razzo, very strong on offense, but then like it doesn't seem. It seems like Hotashi just has the read on defensive tendencies.
Yeah. And look, I mean, Hotashi at this range, before this Fireball game started, it was all 2S all the time. That was the money button here. This is a big hit for Razzo. It's unfortunate that Razzo didn't have any resources to catch something out, but positive bonus will be huge here. I think if you slow this down just a hair, you can sit on that meter and try to continue.
Oh, now Razzo doesn't. Oh no, you can't make a single error. Okay, has to PRC there. On offense, no, you're not gonna die because of scaling.
Yeah. Yeah, and Razzo has the burst critically.
Oh,
What a
backdash and a punish. That's the
backdash!
burst too. That was a multi-layered punish too.
Catches the backdash
Oh,
from
wait.
Razzo. Uh-oh. Activation. The blood gets popped. Oh my god. And then just a 5H. I'm sorry, Razzo. Man's got a baseball bat. The 3-0 from Hotashi. Letting
What I
the
wanna
blood
know-
pop in game 3. But who cares?
What I want to know is, was that 5H blocked? Or was that H
Ooh.
blocked? Or was it a hit? Because it does do chip damage.
I feel like because Hotashi was at 1 HP, right? So it's my immediate interpretation, right, was that I assumed Razzo had like overextended and was like, oh, I literally just needed to do something. Could have even just been like throw a fireball and then, you know, dash down behind it, catch him in the air,
I
make him
agree.
block a DP or something, and just
I mean,
did
it's not
not
like-
recognize the threat of the 5H.
Yeah, it's not like Nago has air options. To be able to air dash if
Right.
a fireball was coming underneath him.
Right. He's either neutral jumping and getting clipped in the air, or he's forward jumping and maybe getting clipped in the air. And then you
Yeah,
can sort of sit there and be like,
Yeah, usually in that situation, it would be kind of a bad situation for Nago, but because both characters are so low in health and having the
Right.
extended damage from being in Blood Rage, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've noodled around with Nago a bit, and yes, we are getting Chip versus Axel on Bean versus Flash Metroid. In the time that I noodled with Nago, it's just like, once that Blood Rage pops, I feel like the tendency of so many people is like, oh, cool, I get to play the game now, especially if they don't have bar. But in that moment, Razzo forgot what his health bar looked like, and it got fully depleted. Waiting up in the losers finals for the winner of this, Bean and Flash Metroid. Immediately, the Red RC, look at all this pressure from Bean. And you called it out. I was like, this matchup going to be kind of gross. And you were like, yeah, I mean, one of them's just going to bulldoze the other. Either Bean is never going to get in, or Flash Metroid is going to get smoked once Bean does get in.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, because like Chip doesn't have the life bar to take hits. I mean, who does in this game? But
right.
Actually messed up the safe jump and then gives Bean the opportunity, but the burst doesn't come from Flash Metroid. Bean is sitting on some bar though. That might come into play.
Yeah.
I like these run stops.
Yeah, I mean, just earning this little bit of space. There's the PRC from Flash Metroid. The risk gauge pretty high, but that even doesn't even really matter because it's a one-titch game anyway.
It does matter. It mattered. You know why it mattered? It mattered because it made Bean burst.
That's true. That's true.
Because it said counter.
It was like, oh damn, I need to burst. I'm gonna lose out on the round.
You know why it mattered? Because you didn't need to actually counter hit Bean to make it say counter. Because the bar is jacked up so much, you could get hit raw by just moving, and it's gonna say counter.
Oh, great call on the IAD back there from Flash Metroid. Yeah, I mean, you said he's played Axel since back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice stagger pressure there from Bean. Are we going to end this in the wall break? No, we want to end this into the reset, get a wall break on something else. PRC, but the up back again, that's 2 for 2.
All right. Slight life lead. Oh, it doesn't get he blocked. Ooh, I love that.
Okay.
For full conversion goes for the reset instead.
The double overhead on the way down. Bean wasn't ready. Bean just barely has the burst back, but you're actually not going to live enough off of another hit, especially with these little bits of chip that are mounting up from some of these limbs coming in.
Yep. You see the movement, though? This Axel movement? But Bean doesn't care about that because he's in. Wait, there comes the burst.
All right. I mean, this is everything. The 2K check.
And that move is plus, the clone. But
that's,
you know what?
That's hella brave.
Yeah, I mean, it is hella brave. But I've been seeing Bean play at NOBC for a few weeks now. And definitely, you have to pay attention on the stealing of turns. And that was a bit far to run and take your turn back. And, but the experience of Flash Metroid, understanding the situation, understanding the range, you know what? I could probably press a button.
Oh. Okay, finding the counter hit now. Bean wise to the command grab representation from Flash Metroid as well. Neither one of these players is asleep at the wheel with respect to these grabs, it's looking like.
Oh, yeah. Flash Metroid is already punished, too, of them. Very well, too.
Oh, okay. Big jump in. Has the corner position advantageous against Flash Metroid. Now the cross up. I did not block that. I got absolutely smoked.
Yeah, there it goes. Is this gonna kill? If he's at the wall, it will. Oh, no. I lied.
Oh, my God. By a hair? Okay.
I lied. Wait. Still managed to get the kill with the cross up. All right.
This frame trap pressure from Bean is so difficult. Oh, clipped by the first hit of the Rekka, but wasn't ready to follow up, or perhaps just didn't want to, wants to fish for a different type of knockdown. There's the burst from Flash Metroid. Oh, just shy of a whiff punish.
You know what? I love the adjustment from Bean. So, like, Flash Metroid in the first game challenged after the clone, and this time Bean pressed like a too heavy and got a counter hit instead of dashing in to steal a turn back.
Oh, okay. We get the IAD pressure here from Bean, keeping it going. There's the throw reset. Flash Metroid, I think a throw might kill now. The PRC blows up Bean for overextending. Bean has a burst on deck, but it's going to blow up the bomber.
Yeah, that was like, I guess Flash was like, you know what? Let's go for the okie doke. Let's do this. Maybe get him to burst.
That's a big call out.
It was a big call out, but sometimes you gotta make these reads. But Bean is gonna tie that up, and because of sustained corner pressure as well, because like slight adjustments to how Flash Metroid was challenging or defending. I love it when the meta shifts forward.
Yeah.
Alright, but Flash Metroid strikes first blood.
Yeah, I was about to
with it.
say, it immediately looked like Flash Metroid was maybe making the call to be slightly more active in the ground
Mm,
pressure rather than surrendering as much space, because he keeps ending up in the corner where we are already. Every time that bar is on display, that 6K becomes a bigger threat. Finding the wall break, Flash Metroid, I believe, still has burst, but depending on the hit, you may not have the opportunity to use it. Being gonna sit on this positive bonus for a little bit, and then you can
yeah.
use that RC to just try to
Oh.
navigate something. Ooh, the whiff punishment.
And then you see where the bar is at? That would have surely led to an RC, which would have led to kill had Flash had more health. Oh, great anti-air. Yeah, great trade combo, I should say. That happened off of the
Ooh.
trade.
Yeah, and right into the throw. This is really good pressure right now for Flash Metroid. This is the same kind of spot he wants to
PRC.
be in. Has to PRC forward to stay safe.
Mm. All right, but in the corner once again, there's a counter hit. When is the burst coming? This might make it break this game. Oh yeah.
Oh, he's
Try to
so
bait out
afraid
a
of the
burst right there.
burst.
Yeah, like being stopped because burst was definitely nice air grab.
Ooh, the Alpha Blade works out, catches Flash, reaching the second game up for Bean now 2-1.
I
This
mean,
has
this matchup.
absolutely been an explosive set. It's been so back and forth. But I like what you said, where seeing the sort of meta between the two players evolving. Like, Flash was making those hard reads that were working out so well in that first game. But as you've
Mm,
pointed out, Bean is varying the offensive calls. Flash Metroid makes the switch to Kai.
hmm. All right, opting for a character with a reversal, with a projectile and a reversal, and maybe just a little more movement options, I guess. Faster normals as well. I don't know if is already not working out, but has this corner situation. Oh
Ooh,
yeah,
just
that's not
swings through the H Fireball. Doesn't want to deal with any of it. All right, we got the shock state on. There's some plus frames. Oh, wow. I'm a little bit surprised that 2K2D even connected there. That was so far away.
it was like the baits it out. Oh, it wasn't really ready for a side switch as well.
Yeah, I thought he did it on purpose. I thought it was like Galaxy Brain run under to be able to steal the corner back after the burst bait. Still sitting on the slight life lead here is Flash.
All right, an RC. This should kill. It does.
It looks like part of the change is the utilization of the 2S from Kai as a way to contest the ground game here. And then obviously having a DP is just good for an air approach, which Bean hadn't really been going to until he had Flash cornered. But that was specifically against Kai, against Axel, right? Like, you have to approach that matchup a little bit differently.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about the matchup is they're both gonna want to try to keep Chip out. That's a given. But the thing is, Kai doesn't whiff nearly as hard as Axel's gonna whiff.
Right. Oh, the DP wanted, I don't know if that was a pickup or just we just let in the super rip, but I think Bean hit a button. He did. That's going to get the wall break. Positive bonus here for Bean sitting on, for Flash now.
Oh, and that kills. The OTG kills.
Oh.
Tied up.
Okay, Kai. I think Kai
Yeah.
is really sick in this game. I know
Kai got buffed
he's not really
a bit.
been looked at as like a top tier for this game, but he's, first of all, his visual redesign is just fantastic in my humble opinion. But also
I think the shock state is really interesting.
Okay.
Like it makes blocking a fireball or getting hit by a fireball, blocking it, like scary. Now you're in shock state.
Right, there's much more interaction to it than like, all right, I can eat the chip damage. It's like, all right, this means that these special moves are a bigger deal later. This means that if I get hit, it's more damage, or that I'm going to have to eat that mix after the fact. Speaking of eating that mix, though, Flash Metroid back at the corner here. Wow, this offense from Bean.
Yeah, not eating the mix, as you said, not loving it, though.
All right, the trade works out for Bean to go to set point.
The Kai did work out for our game. Can it succeed again? Already have the light. What a brave run up during a block string too.
Right
Into a throw.
But that's another one of those big reads that Flash Metroid is very willing to make. An unfortunate combo drop.
Oh, another combo drop there that would have led to the kill.
I
Beans has
wonder
another
if, like,
opportunity.
there's no way that Flash is specifically
Wow.
trying to, okay, DP's through the block string to close out the round. We're going to the true final round here. There's
Mhm.
no way that he's structuring the combos to burst bait, right? That doesn't seem like how one would burst bait.
Uh, not there.
Right.
Maybe there's slight delays on the 5S. Maybe he's holding up because you can jump cancel that button, the close one,
Hmm.
and that was a way to kind of OS bursts in other ones. You'd hold up and still press the button. So if a burst comes out, you go into proximity guard and you jump block.
I
And
have seen that. People still use that in
yeah,
this
it's
game.
probably what he's doing. If he's doing delayed 5 heavies and strings, he's probably up backing in the middle of strings. So if you burst, you're basically getting error for it.
I think depending on the hit here, Bean could actually take this. Oh no, goes for the cross up. Now we've got Flash Metroid back against the corner. The meter is gone, but catches Flash Metroid trying to cheat out of the corner and is able to close out the round and the game. A close 3-2, earning the right to play against Razzo up there in the losers finals. Chip versus Leo now. I mean,
Hmm.
one, my gut call is that my hope would be that Razzo is able to find a better performance than they saw in the
Yeah.
winner's side. And that's such a fundamentally different matchup that I imagine if there was something about Hotashi in the kit of Nagoriyuki, that is what gave Razzo the problem that they had. Chip is
Yeah.
probably not going to represent that. That being said, Chip is a character that will overwhelm you with offense. And in some respect, that is what we saw as the problem up there in the winner's side. It's
He
just that
did, but
Nago's ground game was so strong that
mm,
Razzo couldn't try to meet that intensity with his own.
yeah, I don't think Chip has the normals that will quite prevent Leo from getting in the same way.
Right.
Because Chip wants to get in as well. If anything, Leo could probably use projectiles and slightly zone Chip from
Right.
in certain ways. But I think it might be a much more comfortable matchup for Razzo because they both want to eventually end up close range. Plus, you do have the flash kick to contend with. So if there's 50%
Yes.
tension on deck, you can always I don't want to take this mix. Flash kick RC.
Right. Right. I wonder what's going to end up happening, right? Like what is the way that Razzo is going to elect to play? Is Razzo going to try to be more defensive or more mid-range focused like Leo's got?
I've seen
Like you
Razzo
called
play,
out.
and Razzo is a very aggressive player. I think
Okay, so then
I think aggression
probably not.
is gonna be what's gonna be required because Chip
Yeah.
doesn't have the life bar too. So like risk
Yes,
versus
that's
reward, Leo does more damage. Chip doesn't do quite as much damage as Leo.
right.
Also, Leo has more health. Chip doesn't have that much health. You
Right.
know,
They're playing the same game. It's just Leo doesn't have to play it for as long.
yeah. They both have DPS, except
Yeah.
except Leo is not gonna die for risking a DP in the middle of the
Right.
screen. Right?
Right.
Chip
Yeah,
on the
you
other
really need
hand,
to be at the wall.
yeah. And then even at the wall, Leo's not gonna die. If he had like 70%, if he had like 80% of life, Chip is not gonna kill him.
Yeah,
On
but I
the
mean,
other
how
hand,
close do you end up at a one touch? Leo, absolutely. If Chip is at like 70% life and Leo has the right combo and the right
that's
hit, like yeah, you might
yeah,
get deleted.
yeah, exactly. Like risk versus reward isn't the same. They have similar tools for defense, but they don't have the same life to use it.
Right. Yeah. So I mean,
So
I wonder it selfishly, right? Like I want to see Razzo be able to perform, right? Like that winners finals match was demoralizing.
mm.
I would hate to be on the receiving end of what Hotashi dished out in that winner's side.
Yeah, like I mean, either way. On the other hand, if Bean does make it to the grand finals, I wonder what the dynamic of Chip versus Nago is like.
I mean, I feel like Chip is
I think
faster.
Chip is a hard matchup. I've heard Chip being a hard matchup for Nago.
I can believe that because I feel like what Naga wants to do is to be able to keep you right at the if it's not Nago's turn very specifically, right? Like if he's not up in your face and opening up offense off of close slash, he kind of wants to be able to use like 2S, 5H uh, as sort of the mid range tools and get the blood gauge up to control the screen
The
so that he can
funny
sort
thing
of
is,
pick the spots. Go ahead.
the funny thing is, I think Axel and Chip are hard matchups for Nago. So if either of them had moved forward, like
That's interesting.
and get to the grand finals, it might be a completely
Yeah.
different dynamic.
Yeah, I would believe it for Axel, right? Because like Axel is one of the only other characters in the game who can sit there and be like, "Yeah, if you want to play mid range, okay, I'm better. I'm the king of footsies. I'm the king
Here's
of
where I
poking.
live.
You need to come to me." And Nago's kind of like, oh, damn. I I actually need to like catch you sitting down with a
Mm,
5H and asleep at the wheel with a command dash and then start my offense that way or
mhm.
like just really weather the storm of navigating around the tools. But I mean, unfortunately, not going to see that Flash Metroid out here at fourth. For the Chip, though, I think the thing with Chip is like Nago has the ability to dish out that damage, right? If Nago does get that one hit into that one good knockdown, or even honestly, in theory, just the one hit with the right resources could literally be all it takes. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've seen the 100-0 when you catch the shadow clone. Is that realistic? No, but I mean, neither is half of the stuff we see from every new DLC character of here's how you 100-0 people in one guess with full resources. But knowing that that is on deck, sometimes it happens. A Street Fighter example, somebody pointed out that, Oro in Tengu Stone builds so much meter, right? Uh, Oro and Tengu Stone can theoretically do a 4-bar combo because you spend the first bar when you're at something like 2.5 or something, and you immediately build back the bar. Somebody landed that on CFN.
it could happen. And also, like, you could luck out and get the extra the secret items, whatever, not secret items, the special items,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah,
the
yeah.
ones that like give you a percentage of your V trigger back with each hit, and then Tango Stone can last a little longer.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
so
there's a lot of cutesy stuff in there, but even in general, right? Like everyone's gut instinct is always when a new character comes out, and I feel like Street Fighter V was particularly guilty for it. Maybe we've seen much less of it in this one because I feel like there's less like, oh, here's how this mechanic works. Like a lot of people are playing with the same toolkit in the RC system and the burst system and stuff.
mm,
But you see people sit there and it's the same thing of like, all right, I get one crush counter into this one reset with V trigger activation which gets stunned and then I kill. And it's always the like, well, how realistic is this? And it's like, well, sometimes it is, right? Or maybe it's not about this exact sequence. Maybe it's about understanding this path. And now you can be like, all right, I landed the crush counter. If I'm not getting this particular thing in the next reset, what other things can I get? Because everyone has seen the clips. So of course they're not going to backdash in this spot because they get smoked. And as you start to lab out those best case scenarios and sort of go down like the factorial tree of all of the different things that you can do, you start to really understand what your character has available to you.
mm, it's true. It's true. I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Like, I mean, Bean versus Razzo, two characters. They're mix-up characters. They're mix-up monsters.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Chip is
And I
going to
know
have to.
Leo is looked at. I think Chip fell down in some people's esteem after the nerfs, right? Particularly like the
Mm,
J2K nerf.
still
I
think,
know.
still think
Mhm.
quite a strong character. Yes, the J2K got a hurt box, so to speak.
Oh no.
Not a hurt box.
Imagine
Oh
hurt
no.
boxes.
You imagine though, but like still a good move. I don't see it abused nearly as much. At least not in Bean's game. I think it's very rarely used the same way it was used when the game first came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we just watched the match against Flash Metroid, right? I feel like the J2K was always layered inside of some other sort of tricky thing where it's not just like, oh, I went to the air and I'm using J2K, where, in
Oh yeah, I
1.0
want to
of this
skip
game, right?
neutral. I'm
Yeah,
in.
1.0 of this game, Chip was just like at super jump height or whatever, and then J2K'd on you is like, cool. I this is my game now. Enjoy this mix. Not the case anymore, but Bean was using it in these very interesting spots, like low air dashes or canceling other moves to end up in the air. And the J2K comes out as part of like a left right mix up. A
Yeah,
really
like
interesting
I think
combination of the tool.
that was kind of how it was used before in older Guilty Gears. After
Okay.
like a knockdown, but I mean, a lot of well, it wasn't used as the hit itself. Okay, it was used kind of as like an FD break, which were taken out of the
Interesting.
game. Yeah, so because what you would do is when you air dashed, right? You'd
Okay.
use the dive, but you'd FD break it, which cancels it. So it cancels it into FD, but it cuts your forward momentum and makes you start falling immediately.
Oh,
So
so it,
so
it
during
it
the
ended up working
IAD,
like a pseudo fast fall.
yeah. So you start getting left right fast falls into J heavy.
That's gross.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
And
love
then
it.
so you're
That's
getting knocked
gross.
down. You're like, oh no, I gotta guess. Oh no, I gotta guess.
Yeah, I mean, and that's definitely the sensation that I think Chip wants to be putting you in this game. It's just like, oh, great. Like, look at this little bumblebee running around with his stinger on his arm, trying to smoke my day. And
Mm.
Leo out here repping the second king. What, I don't know the name of the country. The second king, right? That's lore. I know Guilty Gear lore. Officially an anime
The
commentator. There
second
we
king.
go. Bean versus Razzo. Losers finals.
Oh, immediate burst. Doesn't want to see any mixes.
Yeah.
Gonna.
I love an early burst in this game, though. You'll get it back eventually, and the rounds are so explosive, you do not want to deal with it. Goes for a stagger off of 6K, and the DP already represented, like you called out, that flash kick is going to
Mm.
continue to be a factor in this matchup.
Oh yeah, you want to make sure that they understand it's there early on. It's there.
Oh, has the bar, catches Bean trying to do something cute, and now we got the left right. Leo can run his offense too. We did a lot of talking about what Chip can do, but Leo a mixed machine of his own right.
Yep. You gotta take. Oh, it goes for the cross up. Good block from Razzo. Oh, that's a punish.
Yeah,
And
that
RC.
almost seemed like a big call out on like a backdash.
Oh, I don't know what that was a call out from. Oh, gets a command grab. This is gonna kill.
Oh, nothing personal, kid. First round on the board goes to Bean.
Yeah, and a
Okay,
lot of
the
things.
stagger pressure working out off the 6K now, and the throw game is opening up.
Hmm. Oh, you
Oh,
had
yes,
all
it is.
kinds of those. Oh, you gotta watch
The
your
2K
legs.
checks. Oh, if only he had done it into super, he would have gotten the kill there. The 2K check
Yeah.
from Bean stopping Razzo from moving forward too far, but we close out the round anyway.
Yeah, the wake up 2D.
Oh,
Oh,
that
the
was a
hard
huge
out.
call out from Razzo.
Yeah, it's not working out either. All right, but still, Bean has the meter advantage.
All right,
And
are we going to
keeping the
see Bean
strength
try to
as
cheek?
well.
Oh, okay. Goes for the command grab. Razzo ready with the up back.
Gotta watch those ankles.
I like that 5P check, just keeping him honest. The DP, okay. If you're going to do it, you can use the bar back. And the burst coming out now from Bean back against the corner. Not anymore, it's not.
Oh, command grab again? Yeah, and I think that the command grab was meaty enough that DP was not an option. DP would have gotten grabbed. Which
It,
which is probably why Bean is going for it there. So, and plus I think it was meaty enough that if you jumped, you wouldn't have gotten a punish. I'm
yeah,
guessing.
maybe. I know the DP does seem to be the tendency right now. Defensively from Razzo, especially every time there's bar. It's like, all right, we're just going to let the
Even
DP
offensively
rock.
too, because Razzo was doing stagger strings and then delayed DP into RC. Just in case you wanna like imagine about taking a turn back.
Right? The Wrecker pressure is starting. Razzo back against the corner, 2K2D. But so much respect now afterwards. There's the throw reset off of the 5K.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Razzo made his point with some of those DPs. See, Bean is like, yeah, wild.
Right. I know you're going to do it. I know you're going to do it.
I mean, even knowing you still might get hit. All right, but Razzo, successfully takes that first round of the second game, and
Okay.
and the momentum is slowly shifting in Razzo's favor.
Yeah, I think the threat of the DP slowed down Bean enough that now Razzo is able to be the instigator of these exchanges. There's the wall break. This is such a healthy life lead and has
Also,
burst. The double dash attempt, but Razzo is dissuaded from playing Mario Kart perhaps, but you have to block and get killed by the chip damage of the fireball. A game now on the board for Razzo.
yeah. Also, Razzo has been like peppering up Chip with a few grabs, multiple throws.
Yeah.
And then you saw that forward dash into what looked like a throw situation, and then Razzo backdash. You saw with the shimmy, with the backdash, right? And you see the whiff throw tech from Bean. Yeah, like really, really exercising the mind game on defense as well as on offense.
Right, how are we going to open this one up? I think you're exactly right. I think Bean needs to do something to dissuade this throw game.
Wait, there's a way to dissuade it. You start hitting him. Because that's
that always helps too.
Yeah,
he can't throw you if he's
like,
holding this mix.
Exactly. I mean, if you're the one always holding the mix, either you're not keeping him out well enough, or you never landed a hit. So sometimes you gotta simplify it. Like, what didn't happen in the match? Maybe I should try to do this. How do I get to this point? And you gotta figure that out. But
oh my God, Razzo, you disrespectful.
Like I said,
And Razzo has been peppering those in because Bean has not been respecting the stagger pressure.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the frame traps starting to get a little spicy. Like you said, peppering them in. And now you see Bean backdashing in the corner. That when you start backdashing in the corner, like options are starting to run out.
Yeah, we do find the wall break. We're not cashing out with the super for the advantageous Oki situation. What's the situation now going to be? Not blue RC drift? No. Your back is up against the corner.
Like, it's positive bonus. Just building meter, but is he going to die from this? Yes, he is going to die. I didn't see how much life he had. The positive bonus did not even matter. What is that, 2-1 now?
Yeah, it's 2-1 Razzo. And Razzo, I mean, the difference in the ground game, the constant threat of the DPs keeping Bean on the back foot. And I think it's exactly like you said, in this matchup, it feels like Razzo isn't necessarily even afraid of a whiffed DP because he's let it rock a couple of times without the bar. But Bean isn't able to cash out huge damage unless they're already at the wall.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, we were talking about risk versus reward. It's definitely, if they both have a DP, who is going to survive longer? It's almost like Razzo has.
Oh my God! Didn't even punish that one.
Exactly. Now you got to even consider failing to punish one too.
All right. 5P anti-air. We are going to close this round out. The best showing that Bean has had for a little bit here. No, you're still alive off the wall break. Wow.
Alive. Okay. And things now, Razzo's now on offense. If he can successfully, does not successfully get a burst to be used. Bean looking good this game. I like the adjustments. Like I said, what's happening? I'm blocking Razzo's mix-ups. Did you ever land your mix-ups on him? Maybe you should try.
I did not see that left right that Razzo just did. I swear to God, even the game's like model generator did not know that he was going to be on the cross up side. Speaking of crosses up though, Razzo goes for the burst to try to dissuade some of this offense here.
All right. And Razzo successfully got out of the mix-up situation. Gets back to neutral. I don't foresee that Bean will burst. Does not actually try to wake up a button. unsuccessfully.
All right, this is
Going.
set point for Razzo.
Mm. Oh,
Oh,
that's a
that
punish.
2D. I wonder what the read is with these letting these 2Ds just rip. Maybe feels that the threat of the DP in these situations is just so thorough that Bean is going to let these 2Ds rip.
Yeah, well, the thing is though, it's not very punishable. Like you could punish it with like a light attack, right? But if you're not in range, then you wouldn't be able to punish it, even with the light attack. But unfortunately for Razzo, being instant blocked that 2D and was in range because of the instant block.
All right, 2 games apiece.
And I feel
I
like the adjustment was, you know what, Bean was, I'm tired of taking these mixes. How about I hit you
Yeah,
and you take
and
mine?
I think a big part of it too is I think Bean is getting a little bit more comfortable with where and how Razzo is opening up the ground game, like
Mm.
the tendencies to like 6K in certain spots, go for Berserker Slash as the way,
Oh,
like
and there's
exactly
still the
like that,
punish out
is very ready to check these tools with his own 2K and 5K.
there. There's a punish in that 2D. Mm. Yo, watch the chonkless. Oh, brave run forward. Oh, and for the first time a DP from Bean and successfully baits up the burst. And this corner carry. Oh no, wall is gonna break too. Now they're in a neutral situation now. Razzo still has some meter.
Oh, the DP. We haven't seen DP really represented a whole lot by Bean yet, and
And
now that
what
it
a
comes
game to
out,
bring
puts
it
Bean
out.
on set point.
I know, like, what a time to bring it out when you're gonna be on set point. I mean, it
Right,
doesn't
but
seem to be dissuading Razzo from any type of offense.
oh, these like the way that Bean is getting like just outside of the range of Razzo hitting buttons and then gets these dash 2K 2Ds to open up the game is such a huge shift in the pace of this matchup.
All right,
It
and then
really is just the strength of this ground game, which is not what I would have expected because we talked about how Leo is the one who is sort of better equipped to make a commanding ground game. But if we get the wall
drop.
splat, okay.
All right,
Any
good
hit will
tech
do
on.
it here for Bean.
Wait, is he gonna burst?
No, the red RC was a burst bait, gets it with the cross up, and Bean is going to take it 3-2 over Razzo and move on for the shot against Hotashi. We're going to see Nago chip.
Yeah, like really good adjustments from Bean. Like I said though, you know, if your opponent is mixing you up, um, maybe you're getting hit a little bit too much. Maybe you should try
Right.
hitting them. Because
Yeah.
I mean that's the easy answer though, because you both have mix-up characters. Like they're not meant to be like, oh, I'm the one trying to defend on your mix-up. Nah, like let's
Right.
figure out how to land this hit to get this knockdown.
Yeah.
You play my game. I don't want to play your
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened, right? Instead of seeing a shift in the way Bean was making defensive decisions, Bean was like, all right, this is the way that he's opening up the game. How can I turn that into me doing it? And so we started to see more of those like whiff 6K or whiff 5S or whiff Berserker Slash. And all of these things began to immediately be checked by 2K 2D from chip, dash in 2K, or checking the forward movement with even just throwing out a 5P occasionally to be like, no, I'm going to slow you down. And then off of that scramble, I am in the more advantageous situation if I 5P you right in front of me, where like the onus is now on you to have to make a
Mm.
defensive call. And it just worked out better in Bean's favor the whole time.
And speaking about defensive calls, like Bean going into that final game, the first round of the final game, started making a very important defensive call to wake up DP that worked
Yeah.
out successfully every time it was used in that round.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, now we obviously have to wonder Chip versus Nago. You had said that Chip is, you have heard
Advantageous.
described as against Nago.
Yes.
Yeah. So the onus will be on Hotashi then to exert a very strong degree of control on keeping Bean in place and not running his own offense. But like, you don't have great for the air approach. You need that preemptive 2H. You need your 6P, which is like it's it works. It's fine, but like it's not necessarily what you want. And I don't know that a single 6P is like going to dissuade a chip, right? They're gonna put that pedal straight back down to the floor and keep
Mhm.
doing stuff, right? It's the Street Fighter 5 problem of like anti-airs don't matter because they don't dissuade thoroughly enough. Obviously, the 2H is far, far better, but I
Yeah,
guess we'll
like
have to see.
yeah, it depends on what the Nago hits with. If at least if you get like, a close S, if you get this button,
Yeah,
then
that too.
that button getting hit by that might be the end of the world, right?
Yeah, well, I
A
mean,
too heavy might be the end of the world. The damage that, especially if you pop up too, and then and the combo becomes kind of burst safe because of the height that you get hit at.
right.
So, but like,
Yeah, I'm that can very easily be checkmate for Chip.
I if I have to like make a comparison, it's kind of like you're trying to swat a fly.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're
If you hit
exactly
the
right.
fly,
It's gonna
it
die.
will it
It's
will
gonna
die.
die. Well, I mean that 2H is looking like the fly swatter then. That's
Mm.
what you hope for.
I mean, you also have to be careful of whiffing against chip. You if you whiff too
Yeah,
hard, now you got to guess. And Nago does not have the best movement options.
right. It doesn't have the
Like
best
to
movement options. Doesn't have mhm.
all right,
Yeah,
so
it
we're
doesn't have
gonna
the best movement
go.
options. Go ahead, sorry.
Now, I'm sorry. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
No, I was gonna say doesn't have the best movement options. Doesn't have like a proper reversal, right? Like does
Mm.
his DP behave as a proper reversal? I don't believe that it does.
Not invincibly, but either
Right.
case.
Then it might
That
as
being
well
said,
not.
we will see the match when we come back because we're gonna have to wait. I think we're waiting on a different tournament, right? So we're gonna, you know how it is. There's a bunch of online
Yeah.
tournaments going on, and these players do tend to enter multiple tournaments. So we're gonna have to wait on that as well, and we'll be back shortly.
Welcome back, y'all. It is Guilty Gear Strive Grand Finals here at East Coast Throwdown Presents Community Throwdown on Facebook Gaming. I'm Brad Muse. Joining me is Liston the Prince, and we have Hotashi versus Bean in the Grand Finals. Tell me what you think that we should be expecting looking into this matchup now. We talked about it at length before we went to break.
Well, I mean, you can expect something similar on defense, how it was with Axel versus Chip. Except the thing is though, like Nago is not really gonna be able to affect him at those ranges as well because Axel has the 5P. Like if you try to like
Right.
approach from the air and you're too far away, 5P can check you and things like that. Nago,
Yep.
and then but also Axel has air mobility and Nago doesn't really have air mobility like that. Doesn't have air dashes to like to traverse the screen, so to speak, very quickly while
Right.
airborne. So every single thing that Hotashi is gonna have to choose, he's gonna have to commit to those options. And in a lot of those cases, you're kind of making a hard read on where you think they're gonna be. You're gonna be rewarded heavily for that read if it lands, because most likely it's gonna be a counter hit, right?
Hmm.
But if it doesn't land, then you're gonna get knocked down. You're gonna have to take the mix. On the plus side, Nago does have a lot of health. I believe tied with Potemkin for the most health in
Okay.
the game. So that being said, Nago can do a lot of damage, can take a lot of damage too. Chip doesn't do that much damage. So that
Right.
works out for you.
Yeah, Chip's gonna end up having to live in that zone and really try to chain these mix-ups on Nago for so long. And Hotashi's gonna get all these chances to guess right and get himself into a situation where he's the one dealing damage. And he only needs to get two or three of those to
Yeah.
really cash out. And what we saw up in the winner side, obviously against Razzo was a different matchup, right? That was against Leo. But the degree of control that Hotashi had on the screen, the placement that Hotashi had in terms of how they were cycling through their different offensive options
Mm.
was immaculate. And maybe part of that was maybe Razzo wasn't ready for that. Maybe Razzo wasn't ready for the type of intensity that Hotashi brought to the table. Maybe it's just a problem matchup. I know Nago is a character that a lot of people are really struggling with right now. Nago is
Mm.
particularly strong.
I think one thing that can make or break the matchup for the Nago player Hatashi, right,
Hmm.
is how well he can deal with Bean's offense while cornered. Because Bean does such a good job of mixing in Rekka with delayed,
Right.
Rekka one hit with sealing a turn back into Rekka, or delaying the second hit. That's
Yeah.
just in case you try to take your turn back and then you get counter hit, or even mixing in like options like the clone, which ends up putting chip at plus again. And so how well you can deal with those options, like okay, you can how well you can deal with recognizing the clone came out and then 6Ping it so you can stop
Right.
the repressure. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone can do it, Hotashi, I'm sure has done a vast amount of studying in this matchup as well as other matchups, but as in this matchup. But that will basically make or break the match for anyone.
Yeah. And like, if Hotashi is able to make that call, it's like we said earlier, the damage that Nago has on display, combined with
Mm,
the limited life of Big Chip here from Bean,
yep.
we already see Bean a little bit more ready to stop this command dash pressure here. Hotashi
Yep.
already up in this max tier blood gauge here.
Oh, but oh no!
Oh,
Oh, he died.
wow. One
Yeah,
bad
and
burst. And it's what you said earlier. You said if you're unlucky and you get clipped high enough that the combos are burst safe.
yeah, like yeah, and the thing is though, Nago is a character that enjoys that situation very much.
We've
That's
got that
that's a
record
common
pressure
thing
that
that
you
happens.
spoke to.
Hmm. All right, nice IBs too. I love what Hotashi's doing. He's IBing the first Rekka. So what ends up happening is it's first Rekka is negative, but you can't really check it because you're far. But because he's IBing it, it's putting Chip in range to be checked. That
Catch up
being
a little bit
said,
more bar. Yeah.
yeah,
Bean
Bean,
Bean making that one work.
yeah. Oh no.
That is so much damage.
Mm.
And
Oh, and the
it's
counter.
literally,
Wow,
oh my god.
what an option!
Actually, sincerely, 2 touches.
What an option! Yeah, like I love that. Like being responded in that neutral situation with a 2D, but Hotashi looked so ready for it. Like I'm gonna counter poke with a 2K. The 2K would not have made contact with anything. It only made contact with a whiff button.
Right. Yeah, I mean it was utilized in much a similar way to like you see the standing shorts utilized by a lot of like the Shoto style standing shorts in Street
Mm.
Fighter 5, where it's like you stick it out in those spots where the express purpose of the limb is like I'm sticking this out and I
I don't know,
know
man.
the only way that that anything is coming from it is because I'm clipping somebody else.
Yeah, it's looking like maybe Hotashi is a bit more up in the new meta of this matchup, or at least a different meta.
Yeah.
Like really creative ways to get around what Chip is gonna want to do, even defensively.
Yeah. And to Bean's credit, I think he's doing a good job of checking a lot of the movement from Hotashi. It's just the
Oh yes,
difficulty,
yes,
like
yes.
you've said a couple of times, is like
Case in point, right
Chip
there.
does so little damage, he needs to be right so often. Hotachi is just quite literally getting more chances, and when he does, they matter more. Going straight into the 5H, actually, I think for the blood gauge, because we were very near the max there, still very high up on the blood gauge is Hotashi.
Yeah, I mean the options available for attack and damage were severely decreased because of blood gauge. You can get rid of that with the 3 hits.
Oh,
Yeah,
fished
PRC
for the
right
command
there.
grab. Bean finally finding the up back. There you are. There's that that IB on the first hit of the Rekka again, like you just called out. But Bean structuring the offense a little bit differently this time to kind of call out Hotashi for the way he wants to do stuff afterwards. No big whiff punish on the full charge 5D.
Yeah, I love how Hotashi has not missed an IB yet on a Rekka.
Yeah, that was such a call out from Hotashi. The fact that Bean ripped out that DP in that moment, once again, not something that we've seen super frequently from him, but to have the presence of mind for it in that spot, being in a decent spot in that round now, but it's clipped by the close slash after the command dash. Look at this damage!
He might die. No, he's not gonna die.
I mean, on a technicality, frankly, right? Like, this man,
I mean,
no
are you
wonder this
alive?
man needs a bodyguard.
he, he is a president.
Look at the 2Ks.
Yeah, 2K, no stimulus.
Bars? I'll give you bars on that. Oh, there's that 2H. Oh my god, so smart. The 2H catches. Bean is gonna fall down into it. The level 1 mix. Command dash forward into 5D. Hotashi up 2 games. And I don't know what to say that Bean needs to do differently. It's just like Bean is literally getting clipped on 1 or 2 calls where Hotashi makes a
Hmm.
great read, and Bean is losing damn near his entire life bar on them. It's
Yeah,
not like
I
Bean
think
is making more than 1 or 2 mistakes in a round.
no, I think Hotashi has he just kind of just knows the matchup very really well, and the IBs are there. It's really shutting down. It's shutting down that little game right there. You see the IBs on the Rekkas. He's
Right.
doing such a good job at taking away the fake things.
Oh, wow. Even staying just farther away than you would expect from the command dash to use the 2K as that counter poke tool like you called out earlier as well.
Mm. Okay, I feel like that was the first Rekka that wasn't IB'd, and Bean backdash because he was like, I don't know. He's been IBing it.
Oh, wow. Bean had to let all that damage rock because of how high he was of the juggle. Blue RC forward drift. We need the Blue RC
PRC.
back drift, but it's okay. That big jump over. This could be the start of something for Bean. Could we see a round on the board with the IB on the Rekka again?
Yeah, and you see, Bean has to stop after the IB because if you go for the follow-up Rekka and Hotashi presses a button, that's dead. You're dead.
Oh,
All right.
we finally see the burst from Hotashi. Doesn't want to lose out on the round, but this is tough.
Mm.
Oh my god. So Bean is starting, I think, to have a harder time checking after these command dashes. Beyblade into command dash into close slash keeps counter hitting.
Oh yeah, and not checking that. That's a scary situation. Oh no, don't get
Look
hit.
at that risk gauge. If Bean
Don't
gets
get
hit
it.
by nearly anything, he's gonna explode. Oh, blood doesn't pop.
All right,
I was
let's
very
start to
ready
go down
for
a little
blood to
bit.
pop.
Wait a minute. Didn't get much from that counter at 6 speed. Oh, finally pulling the trigger on the Rekkas.
That's the same side. We get the wall break. This is a good spot for Bean, but like once again, Bean holding some down back in these spots is a big deal, but your life bar is getting erased right now. There's the super. We're gonna get positive bonus and Oki after the wall break.
You gotta guess for the set after this Oki. They're in this Oki.
I mean, has burst.
Okay, we're
So
gonna use
YRC doesn't
YRC.
want to deal with the mix.
Oh, good
Smart
backdash.
backdash from Hotashi.
Okay, Hotashi has meter. Gotta be careful.
Depending on the hit, Bean might not get to burst. Blue RC, so that the extra hit stun gets him the combo. Hotashi closes it out. A 3-0 clean sweep. We did not watch Hotashi lose a single game on this stream today. The
No,
strength of Hotashi, the strength of Nago.
and not only the strength of the character, but we have to talk about the strength of the training because
Yeah.
you can tell that that matchup was labbed. I think only one IB was missed on one Rekka. Only one, and they played a 3 out of 5. That was 3 games.
Yeah. Hotashi just built different. That's the type of thing when they add in mechanics like instant block and stuff like that.
Mm.
That's the sort of thing that can really blow up autopilot offense and really opens up the interaction of offender versus defender in
Mm.
such an interesting way. And I think you're exactly right. Like what we really saw there was that Bean was playing at that level as the offender, but was not ready to meet that next level that Hotashi was representing as a defender.
I mean, maybe he hasn't played somebody that does those things consistently.
Maybe,
As what?
maybe. But I mean, how many people do, right? I know that's like the peak, right? Like I would think
Mm.
personally, I would feel like if you're a defensive player, like that is the pinnacle of what labbing defense looks like, is understanding the structure and tendencies of these things and having that IB timing for the most consistent offensive choices
Mm.
down that consistently.
All right, but yeah, definitely, definitely took away some options because IB does make you come closer, and the Rekka usually it's done at a spacing. You saw the string
Yeah,
that Bean does. It spaces out Rekka perfectly in this and puts you in a situation where I don't know if he's gonna press 2D again and do another Rekka. I don't know if he's gonna do the
right.
follow up. I don't know if he's gonna like choose to like repressure
Yeah.
or
It's
in
exactly what
other
we saw.
ways.
It's what we saw in the matchup against Razzo. He ran that pressure
Mm,
constantly, and there was so much of that staggered Rekka pressure. And you
exactly.
could see that it was an integral part of his ground game, and
Yeah,
Hotashi just
and
completely shut it down.
yeah, and it like being like it looks like his corner pressure is based around that you being scared to press something because of the
Yeah.
stagger records. And Hotashi successfully eliminated that. And you could see Bean kind of not being sure what to do next in that situation.
Yeah. So I think with that, we can say good night. We can say congratulations to our two winners, Idom winning Street Fighter V and Hotashi winning Guilty Gear Strive in this week one of our next series of East Coast Throwdown Presents Community Throwdown events partnered with Facebook Gaming. Liston, thanks for hanging out tonight. It is a joy as always. I'm glad we finally got to commentate some gear together.
I mean, most like, and guess what? We're gonna be able to do it again next week as well.
Yep. Yep. Same time. Make sure you keep it tuned to East Coast Throwdown on all the pertinent socials so that you can see when the signups go live for next week's events. And then obviously there's still going to be MK and Melty Blood type Lumina coming at you next Tuesday. So if any of
Mm,
these games are your bag, we are here. All you got to do is come back. And with that, I think there's nothing else to say except good
mm.
night. Be safe. Take care.
See y'all next week.